Hey, this is Nathan with Analog Reviews, and today we're having a look at Quantic Dream and David Cage's latest project, Beyond Two Souls. Similar to Heavy Rain, the game plays out in the form of an interactive movie. Every task, no matter how mundane, is controlled with the PlayStation 3's motion sensor. That means everything from walking, climbing, opening doors, and shooting is controlled with a flick of the wrist or QuickTime event. As one would come to expect, the game is story-driven, centering around the life of a girl named Jodie Holmes. Moviegoers will immediately recognize her as the actress Ellen Page. The narrative, however, is not in chronological order, as every segment of the story alternates between Jodie's childhood and when she's an adult. One moment you can be running a mission for the CIA, and the next you can be controlling an 8-year-old girl. The fractured story doesn't do the game justice, as it can be a bit of a mess at times. The game begins with Jodie in a police station, in the custody of a local sheriff who is waiting for the SWAT team to arrive. The SWAT team is then wiped out mysteriously, which begins Jodie's flashbacks as she tries to piece everything together in her life in the events leading up to that moment. Jodie as a girl was a little bit different. Ever since she's been born, she has been able to see ghosts. One spirit by the name of Aiden is bound to her and follows her throughout her life. Aiden interacts with Jodie every step of the way, often trying to aid her, but usually ends up scaring everyone else in the process. Her frightened parents are left with little choice but to give Jodie away. She is then placed in the care of the paranormal division at the Pentagon. She grows up in a carefully monitored lab setting where tests are run regularly. This is all done under the watchful eye of Dr. Nathan Dawkins, which is the closest thing Jodie has to a father at this point. Jodie's unusual gifts eventually attract the attention of the CIA, where she is recruited to take part in covert ops around the globe. These segments are unfortunately the worst part of the game, as the controls do not incorporate well into action and stealth settings. Throughout the game, Jodie faces constant hurdles where she must rely on Aiden in order to progress. With a push of a button, you can assume control of her ghostly companion and use him to move objects that may be too heavy for Jodie. Aiden is also able to fly through walls, acting as a scout, which allows you to survey your surroundings. He also protects Jodie from gunfire, heals her wounds, and can even attack other characters. From throwing objects at them, strangling them, or even possessing their body temporarily, allowing you to manipulate their actions. Controlling Aiden is easily the best part of Beyond Two Souls, as he can have a lot of fun terrorizing the other characters as a poltergeist. Beyond Two Souls tries to do a little bit of everything. It has drama, comedy, action, as well as horror and stealth segments. It's humorous how you're randomly thrown into eerie situations with little warning, such as being asked to grab a bottle of olive oil from the garage. Some of these aspects work very well, while others are ruined by awkward controls and camera angles. You're unable to get a game over screen, similar to Heavy Rain, however the main character Jodie is unable to die, allowing you to fail every event and Mr. Magoo your way through the entire game. The consequences for failure usually result in the deaths of one of the many supporting cast members you meet along the way. This allows for multiple endings and a bit of replayability. Unfortunately, your choices don't carry much consequence, as your overall impact on events is slight. Regardless of whether you choose to save certain characters, you're ultimately led to the same conclusion. The fact that the game isn't in chronological order means that your actions in the future are unable to affect those in the past, which means you're often unable to see the direct results. The controls are a bit rudimentary. They're simplified when compared to Heavy Rain, often resulting in a simple button press to knock out a guard or score a headshot. The camera angles can also feel a bit awkward, often focusing on where you don't want to go. The majority of the action and stealth scenes are a bit boring, sadly, as the controls make you feel like an observer opposed to an active participant. The graphics are well done, as they really push the limits of the PlayStation 3. The motion capture and voice acting are among the best seen thus far, with great performances by both Ellen Page and Willem Dafoe. I'll admit I was never really a fan of Ellen Page, but she proves to be a capable and believable actress in this. The music is great. Norman Corbeil, the composer known for scoring Heavy Rain, makes a return for some of the music, but unfortunately he passed away in the middle of the project. Hans Zimmer and Lorne Balfe agreed to take over, composing the rest of the theme, which all turns out phenomenally, making the game feel like a true cinematic experience. Beyond Two Souls lasts around 10 hours or so, and features an extra Portal-style mode where Jodie and Aiden have to solve puzzles in order to progress. This is a welcome feature, but unfortunately only lasts around 10 minutes, leaving room for additional downloadable content most likely. Overall, Beyond Two Souls is an ambitious project. The The story doesn't have quite the level of depth and immersion as displayed in Heavy Rain, but the great acting will keep you invested in the plot. It unfortunately suffers from an illusion of choice, as your decisions don't do much to influence the overall narrative, and some of the gameplay segments can be downright boring. If you're expecting solid gameplay, look elsewhere, but if you're a fan of interactive movies, then Beyond Two Souls is a game you should look into.